All right, we're back.
We are back.
Bad things happened.
And we are kind of shell-shocked.
I mean, I've chilled out on it.
Yeah, but...
I went back to rewatch how it worked in 7 to some degree, and I was like, oh yeah, this did happen.
Barrett! I think I hear him up ahead.
Hey, here goes.
Can anybody hear me?
Oh.
Marlene. Marlene. Marlene! Marlene! Biggs! Wedge! Jesse! God damn it! God damn you! God damn you all! Marlene? Marlene?
It was us. We did this.
No. You can't think like that. Whatever came before it was Shinra that pulled the trigger today. Am I right?
Yeah.
Holy shit, he has big hands.
I don't even think that's
Hold
possible.
on to this anger, okay?
It's somewhat
And yeah.
possible, not that big, but like I know my uncle Harlan has hands that are like twice the size of mine.
Also, didn't they see Aerith with Marlene in the footage?
Yeah.
Barrett.
So no, Marlene ain't dead.
Marlene's fine.
Yeah, there we go.
See, there we go.
Huh?
Aerith found her.
Aerith. Is that the girl they took?
Yeah. That's her.
The hell's going on?
I asked Aerith to find Marlene and take her somewhere safe.
And she did? You sure? Hey, where you going?
But yeah, so I'd gone back to double check, and yeah, Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse really did die in the original game at that point. I just had like zero emotional connection to them, so I totally forgot.
How could
Oh,
this
those
happen?
same...
I didn't really think that.
Come on, dear. We gotta keep moving.
What the hell
Oh,
is
it's those two
going
soldiers from before.
These are the people the Wedge saved.
Mm-hmm.
When is help going to arrive?
I know it looks bad.
What about the old lady with the poof hair? Did she make it out?
They went the other direction through the underground.
Oh, maybe to Wall City.
Yeah. Wall Market.
Wall Market.
An accident, was it?
How would I know? You stop it with that talk. I don't even want to think about it.
So, wait, is that the central pylon?
Yeah, that's the central one.
So that one just collapsed.
Yep.
Now, wasn't there another one that collapsed too?
Yeah, some
is it-
time ago.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the remains of it right there, I believe.
Really? I thought it was on the other side.
It was...
Well, we'll be able to...
It was Sector 6 that had collapsed.
Mm.
Originally, I think. Or at least part of it. It was between Sector 5 and 6. Hence why there was that collapsed tunnel and stuff.
Yeah. But now
I
7's
said,
entirely gone.
where you going?
Aerith's house. It's in the Sector 5 slums.
And that's where Marlene is?
Where we hope she is.
Tell me she is. Give me something to hang on to. Even if she's not, I won't blame you for it, I swear. Who am I kidding? I'd probably try to tear your head off.
Hey, Tifa. Know anything about ancients?
I know I've heard of them at least.
They come up in planetology books. Meant to be the original stewards of the planet. Could even commune with it, talk to it and stuff.
Hmm.
That must be why the Turks wanted her so badly.
Within my veins flows the blood of ancients. This planet is my birthright. You have failed again, I see. But through suffering, you will grow strong. Isn't that what you want?
Cloud?
It's nothing. Let's go.
Really? You'd think it would happen enough. You'd just fess up to it.
Yeah.
It's like there's a hole in the sky.
Man, I can't believe what I'm seeing here.
Don't you worry. They'll be fine. Every plate's got its own support, you know.
Damn, how much you had to drink, son? We ain't missing no plate.
I'm telling you, that quake I felt?
Ain't no quakes, neither. Just you being a drunken asshole.
They still don't believe it.
Yeah.
Wait.
You
Over
don't think
there.
This is our fault. Even
What
if
the
we
hell are
do
they
it,
doing
we're
here?
just following the
Their
foreman's
jobs,
orders.
probably. Just focus on seeing Marlene again. Nothing else.
Who are they looking at?
We're heading back to...
No, but who were they referring to?
Oh, some Shinra soldiers.
Shinra soldiers who were down in the
Mhm.
city? Okay.
Huh?
I wonder if they evacuated people from the top. I'm assuming not.
Is it true that Sector 7's pretty much destroyed?
Oh, that's a
You
good
guys
question.
run into Jesse at the pillar?
Yeah. Biggs, too. They were both in pretty bad shape. But Wedge wasn't up there with them. He got out.
All right.
No, we didn't.
No.
Wedge was stupid.
Wedge went back for his cats.
Like, I get it.
Come on now. There's no need to be afraid. We're all scared.
Animals are important. But, like... I don't know. We were talking about this last time. Do we want to actually go
Well, I've seen...
back to Walmart for a second and clear some of these things out?
Yeah, well, just to see what's there. I
Okay.
mean, then again, it...
Well, there's probably a new arena fight, so we might want to do that one.
Mm-hmm.
Ghosts that were circling around him had more to do with him dying than getting the cats.
But he still went to get them in the first place.
Yeah, he was sitting there with like a cat in one arm waving at the ghost to like shoo them away. I get it. Like, he probably was doomed no matter what.
What do we need for tomorrow?
But
I want to make sure I'm prepared.
there's a number of tropes that I absolutely despise when it comes to, like, writing and whatnot.
What you doing here at a time like this?
And so, like, yesterday was kind of a cavalcade of things that we don't like in stories. From, you know, the character that runs into the burning building to save animals despite... I mean, obviously, like, he probably thought he had a lot more time. But, you know... Oh, we can't.
Oh, you can't go that way.
Yeah, we can't
All right.
explore.
Searching the compound as we speak, sir.
Oh, so we can't do the arena even if I wanted to. To the sequence with Aerith running around and, like, slowly carrying the child while everything's, like, exploding around her.
She was also being really, I mean, far too gentle with the girls to try to gain their trust. Like, in a situation where time is of the essence.
Like, I get it. You want the kid to not freak out, but at the same time, you also want the kid to live. I have a lot of problem with, like,
And we're discussing how if they had gone just a little bit faster, maybe they could have escaped.
Yeah.
Or
Maybe they could have stopped the tower.
Huh?
If we don't look for them, who will?
Right.
Hey, Cloud. Gonna need your help with it, too.
Right.
What are they looking for?
I'm not actually sure. I
think we missed it.
I missed that. But, like, especially with him moving a little bit faster, you know, the constant points where, like, Tifa and Aerith stayed down with, like, Wedge on the ground. It's like, one of them could have stayed behind.
Yeah.
And, like, when Tifa was, like, at the fence being like, I hope we make it in time, I'll be like, punch through the fence! Like, I get it. This whole thing feels unreal or whatever, but there's just some part of me that gets, like, really irrationally mad when, like, there's this feeling of, like, you need to hurry and everybody's dawdling. Oh god, what was it? It was a Boy Scout thing, and I don't remember which it was, but there was an emergency, and the one person that was, like, supposed to be in charge was sitting there just dithering around doing nothing. And I remember just being, like, so furious. I think somebody had broken their leg.
Oh.
And so it was me and a bunch of scouts who found this kid with a broken leg and his friends didn't know what to do. And all of us are, like, 5th, 6th graders. Like, first time at summer camp. Here's this kid with a broken leg. It's very obviously broken. He can't walk. And none of us can carry him because we're all 5th, 6th graders. We just don't have the muscle mass for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just remember half of us stayed behind to make sure the kid was, you know, going to be fine. I mean, it was just a snapped leg, which obviously is horrifying.
What do you mean by just a snapped leg? Depending on where something is snapped, it can be actually really
dangerous.
Yeah,
but at the time,
if it hits a bad artery or something.
No, that's a good point. But
like, for instance, if you get your femur broken, not only do you risk going into shock and passing out, but if it hits your femoral artery, you're dead.
No, that's a good point. One way or another, I just remember finding the nearest adult, and he had to go through 20 questions of what troop are they from, what did they look like, where are they, what were they doing, and I'm like, none of this matters. There is a kid down the path who's injured, and I talked to my dad about it later, and the guy was probably just trying to cover his ass so that, like, you know, if the kid sued, the guy wouldn't be specifically sued as part of it for whatever reason. But it was just this kind of feeling of, like, standing there and practically screaming at this adult to get him off his fat ass so that he would actually, like, come help this kid, and having to go through 20 questions of nonsense at the time. I think ever since I've always just had, like, zero patience for people dithering about when things are going bad. So, like, I remember a while ago you spilled grape juice on a keyboard and you were just staring at it. I'm like, Shell, this is bad time. What are you doing?
This wasn't...
And
I do admit, sometimes I freeze, but sometimes when something
This is
goes wrong, I
Sector
act.
5, right? So where's this place you said Marlene is?
Where I think she is. It's a house on the other side of town.
Well, come on then. Pick up the pace.
I'm going as fast as you are.
And I get it,
Well,
freezing up and stuff. I wonder if we can use these for fast
Well,
travel.
it depends. There are also instances. I find that reflex-wise, I catch a lot of things that I don't even acknowledge. Like, something might be slipping off the couch, or something might be falling over, and I'll just grab it. And I go, wow, I'm awesome. I only saw that out of my peripheral vision. But then there are things like the grape juice where it kind of tips and you go, oh. Oh. You don't know what to do.
There was this rumbling, and then all of a sudden...
But really, in certain situations, you won't know how you react until it happens.
Yeah.
Because
it's
you can
very
always
true.
you can always put the scenario through your head. What would happen if a fire started? What would happen if I, you know,
That's the
someone
house. Marlene! Marlene!
attacked you on the street or something? What would you do? And you think you're gonna react one way, but I don't know. It's just
Where's
always
Marlene?
people.
Is she here?
Barrett.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm Barrett. Marlene's my little girl. Marlene, she's got short hair. She's cute as a button, with the heart of an angel. She was wearing, pink. She was wearing a
She's
pink dress
sleeping
today.
upstairs.
Oh.
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 I said she's sleeping.
Aww.
I want to see her too. Come on, let's go look in on her.
Or
Keep
Barrett
it down.
doesn't
Don't wake her.
know how to refrain from yelling all the time. Oh, is she okay?
Marlene, my baby. Thank God.
Shh.
Shinra has my daughter now.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm the one who asked her to go get Marlene. We'd only just met, but she was so kind and helpful. I took advantage of her.
It's not your fault. It was only a matter of time before she ended up back there.
Because she's an ancient. That it?
So she told you about that. She must trust you all a great deal. Yes, Aerith is an ancient. Probably the last one living. She's not my daughter. Not by blood, I mean. If that's what you were wondering. About 15 years ago. My husband, he'd been shipped off to fight on the front lines. But then I received a letter saying he'd be home for a bit. So when the day came, I went to the station to meet him. But he didn't come. I couldn't help fearing the worst, even then. But I told myself his leave must have been postponed, that he'd been delayed. Every day I went, to wait and to pray. And that's how I met her and her mother. I thought maybe they'd run away from Wall Market, or that they were topsiders fallen on hard times. I'd seen that sort of thing a lot. Take Aerith somewhere safe. Those were her mother's dying words. My husband had been away for so long, and I was lonely. So I convinced myself the safest place for the girl was with me. It took no time at all for her to start feeling like family. She was a real chatterbox. She told me strange stories, like how she and her mother had escaped from some sort of facility, and how she wasn't sad because her mother had just returned to their planet.
Their planet, huh? Yeah, that sounds about right.
I didn't understand any of it at the time. When I asked if she meant one in the sky, she said no. This one, right here. I mean, what can you say to that?
Mommy, don't be sad.
That's what she said to me one day, out of the blue. So I asked her, what's wrong?
A man you really, really loved just died. His heart came a long way to say goodbye. But he couldn't stay because he had to return to the planet.
I didn't believe her, of course. And then, a few days later, I received a letter saying my husband had been killed in action. Things like that, she'd just know. It was a lot to deal with, but we were happy. And then came the knock.
Coming! No! Go away!
Aerith, you know you're not just any little girl. You're a descendant of the ancients.
I had no idea what he meant, so I said, "Who are the ancients?"
They were the original stewards of the planet, whose boundless knowledge and wisdom shall guide us to the promised land. Some believe the promised land to be a myth, others an allegory of sorts. But we take the words of the scriptures at face value and believe it to be quite real. Which is why Shinra would like very much for Aerith to help us—
You're wrong! I'm not an ancient!
But Aerith, even when you're all alone, don't you hear voices whispering secrets?
No, never!
But all three of us knew that wasn't true. That man knew exactly who Aerith was, where she'd come from, and what she could do.
They knew where she was, but they didn't just take her? Doesn't sound like the Turks I know.
She had to come willingly, otherwise it wouldn't work, they said. That's why, even if they did take her away, I'm sure she's still being treated like a guest. And that they'll send her straight back home once they get what they need.
I doubt it.
You're not planning anything, are you? Don't make things worse than they already are. If I lost her too, I don't know if I could ever. Just don't.
Cloud, maybe she's right about this. Maybe they'll let Aerith go when it's all over. Maybe we'd be better off waiting a little while.
Let's head back to Sector 7. Got things to take care of. Like checking up on the bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
More like what's left of it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how there would be any...
Or any way to even crawl over that. So they're just gonna leave Marlene with Elmyra?
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't talk to her about that. Like, at all.
The main entrance to Sector 7 is buried under rubble now. So how are we supposed to get back inside?
Underground passage in the park.
Good plan.
But how do we get to the park?
I know another way to get there. Aerith showed me before.
This ancient girl knows her stuff. Didn't mean anything by it.
Oh, are you gonna talk with the lady about Biggs?
Don't know if I can.
It was crazy.
Well, it'd be the girl with the frizzy hair, unless she's back in the other...
She might still be a wall market.
She might still be a bee. Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, Elmyra's probably gonna be fine with Marlene. She adopted Aerith after all.
More bonus children! It was a little weird that didn't even come up in conversation. It's like, can you just keep watching over her?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have expected Barrett to say something along the lines of, you know, we have to take care of some things. Can you watch after her? And she'll be like, sure.
City officials are currently restricting access to emergency responders.
Huh?
And urging people in neighboring sectors to remain indoors.
They really did nail the music in this game.
Now, that begs the question. You know how Aerith essentially traded herself in to save Marlene?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they have to get her to come willingly, she has to get something in return, pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, she could just belligerently say no.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose Shinra could have threatened other people. Like, I'm surprised they didn't choose that earlier, unless it couldn't be under duress.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So, then if you think about it, couldn't she then and there have said, I don't want you to drop the plate. I'll go with you if you do not drop the plate. Then she could have saved everyone.
Maybe. I don't know if Shinra would have taken that deal. But that certainly would have solved the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. The really kick-ass music is back. Don't know if the Turks have the power to override Shinra on this one. Yeah, that's true. There's also the question of, like...
Let's go.
That's that.
How... I'm not going to say motivated the Turks are, but I know the Turks are kind of personal enforcers of Shinra, but how high do they rank?
Told you so.
Like, would say...
It almost sounds like they're a... I don't know where they are compared to soldiers.
Probably low... Whoa, soldiers.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Are they above or below soldiers?
Yeah.
Maybe they just have, like, whereas soldiers are meant for the battlefield, they're meant to be agents.
They're like FBI agents as opposed to Navy SEALs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It could be, but I don't know what one would outrank the other.
There, that way. We'll have to
Oh,
fight
but this
our way
one's
through.
open.
But it's our only shot.
People in chat seem to be of the opinion that soldiers are higher than Turks.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. Soldiers are generally...
Well, they're infused with stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas the Turks are just people with exceptional ability.
Gonna finish it quick.
This is a ring mob.
I got your number.
Torture subspecies, larger than their close relatives and armed with blade-like front legs. Drawn by the taste of human flesh, they often venture into residential areas.
Too late.
When the heck did I get poisoned there?
At the same time, we've only ever encountered Cloud and the biker guy.
Yeah.
And then obviously
Just like that, okay?
Sephiroth, but we don't really know what Sephiroth is.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of interested in knowing more about that. Like, let's see. I forgot. We got a new piece of equipment. Oh, is it one of these? There's a magician bracelet.
Oh, that's the one that has 4. Nice.
Oh, but they're not linked.
What do you mean by unlinked?
See these?
Mm-hmm.
They're not linked like these are. So that's not great. Because, yeah, I've been using the Caligonus ones because they're actually connected.
They have links. I see.
Yeah. I guess I'll give... Yeah, I don't know. I'll think about that one. Maybe if I do more arena nonsense.
Dude, what are these?
Bargnabla vases.
Scan it. Whoa, these look weird.
Ability is assess. Dragon had him there.
Polis, really? Monsters originally created by Shinra's R&D division, so research and development, but are now feral after some escaped the lab and bred in the wild.
Enemy skills can be learned from this monster. Okay.
How do you learn those skills? By stealing?
I'm assuming it's a red.
Let's finish this.
Do I have the enemy skill materia? I do not.
No.
Try this. You're done. That it?
Yeah, it's blue magic. Okay, so it's not character specific, it's a materia.
Okay. We'll just have to find it later.
Yeah. Yeah, one way or another, I don't think we have it. Yep. Nope. Don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's switch this out. Do we? It's from Chadley after some challenge. Okay.
That would make sense.
Get the hell out of my way!
You heard the man!
And here's more of them with the seahorses. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to.
Okay.
I'll have to visit Chadley. I'm sure at this point we're
all good.
We are missing out on at least 1 or 2 Chadley things.
Look, 2 of them are taken. What if? Yeah, get Tifa to hit. Never mind.
Deal with that.
All right, watch and learn.
Unfortunately, those bloodsuckers were stuck to 2 of your party members.
Okay, let's
Unfortunately, Tifa, I don't know. I still have a very low opinion of the AI in this game.
Finish him off.
Like it's not uncommon for the AI to just stupidly stare at an enemy and just be like, "Oh, what do I do about that?"
Give him your all. There.
Silly, I was already in the air and I had to go up for another dive kick.
See ya.
Oh yeah, another one in the bag.
Okay.
I like how the current materia you have equipped are analogous.
Analogous? Oh, analogous colors.
Yeah, so yellow to green to blue.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Let's see. I'm actually a little bit surprised that they don't have more materia for us at this point. But I guess they really are pacing it out so you get the cooler stuff in the next
There's a sweeper and one of the smoggers, too. I wonder if you'll finally be able to see what's beneath the bar, considering that most likely the bar itself will be smashed to smithereens.
Yeah, I could see that. It would definitely be a good time for it.
Calling lightning.
But I'm still perplexed as to whether or not they'll be able to find anything at all, given the fact that you would assume that the plate would be hundreds of feet thick.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything would exist underneath it.
Hope you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really think everything would just be absolute pancake?
And there'd be
dust.
tons of metal and rock and debris on top of it.
Excuse me, it's Debris.
You used to like mispronouncing it.
I said it once wrong as a joke, and people got mad. And so now I just fixate on a couple. Same thing like Shazam's.
Mm-hmm. Rather than chasm.
Excuse me, it's Shazam. Whoops. I hope we can carry over progress. I'd be totally fine not carrying over, like...
The typical way, or I mean, the phonetic way to say chasm would be chasm, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So...
But it's actually chasm.
I know.
But it's actually Shazam! Oh, somebody had been living down here, I think. Have I been here before?
No, I've never seen this. Because I do not remember these flags or graffiti.
I don't remember this area that much.
No, I don't remember any of the graffiti. What's going on?
Also, thank you, the real TJLP. There we go for the sub. And welcome. Playing Late Night Final Fantasy. Let's see. Almost certainly will carry over, given the original Final Fantasy VII was on 2 discs and carried over all the data from disc 1 to disc 2. That would be the really smart thing to do. I'd be fine with them resetting character levels. I would not be fine with them resetting. I would not be fine with them resetting. Let's see. Give me a second. I have to punish this man. Yeah. Putting down that thing. There we go. I guess you just got it anyway. And problem solved. Okay. I'd be okay with them resetting levels. I'd be mad if they took away my materia.
Wait, what's that?
This dude?
I do not know.
He is just a man.
With a weird crown tattoo, or I don't know.
We won't
these
hold
trains.
back. Never gonna see you. Shit.
Guess it's my turn.
Oh, I see. You switched because Cloud is currently indisposed.
And this guy stole money from me, so I have to
Your ass out of here.
Bring it.
Suck on this.
Abilities. Oh. I forgot. He's still got the caster gun on.
Why is this guy so difficult?
I'm counting on you.
Mainly,
Nothing to it.
Cloud is not rolling a particularly aggressive build, and Barrett is rolling a just bad build.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Hey. New materia slot. HP, attack power, magic AP. Does he only have 2 guns? He only has 2 guns. I feel like I missed something. But they probably just didn't give me anything because Barrett's been out of the party for freaking... how long? Okay. Anyway, I'm hoping with this game they just split it up into 2 parts. I think 3 parts would be pushing it a little bit.
Actually, I never quite understood the proper structure for a trilogy. If you're thinking about something from a narrative perspective.
Usually the middle part is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, Because it doesn't have that sense of freshness that the first part would. And it doesn't have that sense of, oh, it's these guys again.
Well, so from my understanding of, I mean, having read and watched several trilogies and then also had experience looking at duologies. Oh, wait, is it Beck and, is it the badasses all over again?
Yeah.
Burke and everyone?
Yeah. But I hadn't scanned the grungy bandit.
Hired muscle working for Beck's badasses. With his massive bulk, he delivers devastating blows, one after the other. He likes his fights clean and fair, and remains honorable in victory and defeat.
Friends of yours?
Nope. Stop lying. We go way back.
But obviously, in a trilogy, the first section is always establishing the characters, establishing the villains, knowing, like, initiating the hero's journey. And by the end of the book, maybe they have their first encounter or skirmish with the main villain, and they're successful. And, you know, the villain skulks off, and everyone's like, yay, you're the new hero, but the war isn't over yet, and, you know, there's more ahead. And second book, or section, is usually when they're mustering their forces, they're really coming into their own, because usually it was almost, I don't want to say dumb luck that the heroes prevail in the first part, but especially if it's a hero with a new special power or ability, they, just the fact that they had it took the villain by surprise and such. And then the second book is about them developing that ability, learning more about it, but maybe there's some
We make a decent team.
apprehension or some
Who would have thought, huh?
something that's holding them back, or maybe they're not succeeding as much as they should, or there's too many expectations placed on them, and then usually the villain trounces them and there's like some kind of defeat.
Yeah.
And the heroes go, oh, you know, maybe we're in over ahead, maybe the hero isn't, and their special power isn't enough. What are we gonna do? And then the third book is them preparing for the final encounter and then finally defeating the big bad, the end. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That tends to be the trilogy formula. And because if you think about it, I suppose two great examples would be Star Wars, the original trilogy,
Finally,
and then Lord of the
those
Rings.
assholes were really getting on my nerves.
You're dead.
Because in the second sections of both,
All set.
with the two towers, like the humans, the elves, and, you know, they were trounced at Helm's Deep, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, they still made it out, but only just barely.
I think Helm's Deep is a great example of how to do it right, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Helm's Deep's case, it wasn't about winning or losing, because yeah, they got trounced, but the point of Helm's Deep that made it so good was that they survived. They didn't all die.
Right, but it's also like how in The Empire Strikes Back, Luke loses to Vader, loses his hand, nearly dies.
I would still say, though, Empire Strikes Back was considerably less triumphant.
No, but it wasn't triumphant. But that was
like,
the point where
Two Towers was awesome.
Over there!
That a way out?
I'm almost afraid to go back. To see it with my own eyes.
Tifa.
Come on.
I would argue that Empire Strikes Back was just bleak and crappy. Whereas, like, Two Towers, it was just like... I mean, it was an awesome ending sequence the entire way through that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But then also, wasn't there the issue with Gondor and such? And Rohan, or... Oh no, Rohan came
Oh, is
to
this
help.
where we're gonna find the old lady?
No, there's monsters everywhere.
Maybe not. Well, we might find her here. Doesn't look like it, though.
Wait, what is this?
This is just to get to the park.
Oh, this is the park.
Weimer! You're alive!
Still in one piece?
Who else made it out?
I wish I knew. Sorry.
It's fine.
I'm just glad you survived. Gives me hope for the others.
This is bad. We can't
there's the
afford
guy-
to lose any more lives. Not now.
There's the guy and his daughter.
Not yet. I really hope that all my friends are okay.
I'm sure they are, honey. Don't worry.
You mean the white cats? I don't know. Maybe I'll have to find them somewhere around here.
It's a miracle anyone survived.
Where's the old lady with the poofy hair?
Sector 7.
Oh, there's the weapon dude.
Yeah. Left a few things behind.
I see. I know it's not much, but it's all I got.
Big Bertha.
So in a duology, how would you handle it then? I found that with duologies, it's a little bit more condensed. The first section tends to be when you establish the characters, the conflict, and whatnot, and they fight valiantly, but realize they're up against more than they can chew. And then the second book is when they prepare and then ultimately succeed.
Yeah.
Godspeed.
I think it depends. I think for me, I think maybe I'm just getting past the idea of trilogies and duologies. I hear people just hanging out outside our window talking.
I don't know if they're hanging out or if they're walking. I mean, that's why whenever we go out walking late at night, I'm always a little bit worried, like, hey, don't talk too loud.
They're a lot louder than we are, though.
Oh, definitely. I think they just may have walked by. That's one thing that's going to be in our dream house in the future. I'm going to want those specially paned windows that block noise. My parents got some for their downstairs sunroom. It's because the sunroom had immense windows. I wouldn't necessarily say wall to wall, but fairly substantial. And you could hear everything outside, and it was a lot when cars would drive by and it would just be zoom, zoom, zoom all the time. But my parents decided to, I mean, they needed to replace the windows anyway because they were old. But they got some new windows where they made it so that the panes of glass, you know how there's multiple typically, usually two? They made them at different thicknesses. And because they're different thicknesses, it means that when sound waves pass through them, it's almost like a filter. Frequencies that get through the first are dissipated, or
This is bad.
the second one blocks more. Do you know what I mean, Wander?
This is
Yeah.
bad.
Well, I'm gonna progress. I just don't want to be in a dense neighborhood. That's really all I need. Anyway, as far as like duologies and trilogies and whatnot that I was going to respond with, mainly just I prefer it that it's just the full story, that it's not structured into those. Because I understand trilogies, duologies, whatever, those work in terms of like print media. But I've been reading a number of like web novels that go as long or as short as they need to.
Now, how do you feel about the novels where it's a contained adventure, but it could be one of like 20 books with the same characters, but going on different adventures.
Those tend to drag a bit.
I mean, you have that kind of stuff with The Legend of Driss, but isn't that just a bunch of trilogies?